President Donald Trump is raging after his former DHS chief of staff made this video calling the president dangerous and unfit. Take a look.
I'm Miles Taylor. I served as the Chief of Staff of the Department of Homeland Security under the Donald Trump administration. I would go into the office, I would read my intelligence brief, and then it was my job to help the Department of Homeland Security to keep our country safe. What we saw week in and week out, and for me after 2.5 years in that administration, was terrifying. We would go in to try to talk to him about a pressing national security issue, cyber attack, terrorism threat. He wasn't interested in those things. To him, they weren't priorities. The president wanted to exploit the Department of Homeland Security for his own political purposes and to fuel his own agenda. The California wildfires. On a phone call with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, he told FEMA to cut off the money and to no longer give individual assistance to California. He told us to stop giving money to people whose houses had burned down from a wildfire because he was so rageful that people in the state of California didn't support him and that politically it wasn't a base for him. The policies at the border, he wanted to restart zero tolerance and separate families. He said he wanted to go further and have a deliberate policy of ripping children away from their parents to show those parents that they shouldn't come to the border in the first place. A lot of the time, the things he wanted to do not only were impossible, but in many cases illegal. He didn't want us to tell him it was illegal anymore because he knew that there were, and these were his words, he knew that he had magical authorities. He was one of the most unfocused and undisciplined senior executives I've ever encountered. I came away completely convinced based on firsthand experience that the president was ill-equipped and wouldn't become equipped to do his job effectively. And what's worse, was actively doing damage to our security. People who are still serving in this administration have said to me, just wait until the second term. It'll be no holds barred. It'll be shock and awe. We'll do what we want. Given what I've experienced in the administration, I have to support Joe Biden for president. And even though I'm not a Democrat, even though I disagree on key issues, I'm confident that Joe Biden will protect the country. And I'm confident he won't make the same mistakes as this president.
All right, so there's a lot there. And of course, it's an ad for basically backing Joe Biden. You could see that at the end. But man, there are no lies. No lies detected at all. What's interesting is this guy served for quite some time, right? And now he's like, well, I mean, now that Donald Trump's running for re-election, now I've got to say this. Well, I mean, look, he's been dangerous the entire term. And now you had to say something. I mean, I'm glad they did, but I'm glad, why didn't they say something sooner? More importantly, why didn't they do something sooner? Why didn't more people do something sooner? And now the other scary part, of course, is that they said, or what he had mentioned, is that people in the administration are saying, we'll just wait till the second term. It's going to be no holds barred. Oh, no. Oh, that's not good at all. That's not good at all. So, look, it's a good ad. It is a good ad. And it does rightly point out how dangerous Donald Trump is. And so, look, I get heat for it. Yes, I'm going to vote against Donald Trump. And so that means I'm going to put my vote towards Joe Biden. I'm honest with you guys. That's the only reason that I can find to vote for Joe Biden is that he ain't Trump. And that's it. That's it. There's really no compelling case for Biden other than that. And so I'm being honest about that. And I wish more people would admit that openly. They always try to find, oh, no, Joe Biden, most progressive candidacy in Democratic Party history. No, he's not Trump. And that's it. You don't have to do anything else. Now, as far as this guy is concerned, he also says, look, I'm a Republican. And so I'm going to support Joe Biden. Well, that's because Joe Biden's pretty close to being a Republican. I can guarantee if it was Bernie Sanders that were running on the Democratic side, this guy wouldn't have piped up. So understand that. Okay, understand that. And so Joe Biden is very much aligned, generally more so with Republicans than he is with progressives, at least the so-called moderate Republicans. Yeah, not progressive, not progressive at all. But that the same. But that's uh okay. Enough on that before I say things that are even more controversial. Okay, so look, Donald Trump does not care, right? On the one hand, yes, he doesn't have the intelligence to understand the threats about the country, right? COVID-19, great example of that. Because of him, we were unprepared to deal with the global pandemic, despite the fact that Obama had tried to get the country ready and actually left warnings. Donald Trump dismantled the teams, stopped the readiness, refused to take action because his first thought has always been about himself. And there's the second thing, right? Honestly, I think Trump is okay with things like terror attacks happening. I know, again, that's a controversial statement, right? But, like, what about all the right wing terror? Well, Republicans have never tried to stop that. In fact, I believe that he would let that happen and then use it to blame his political foes, just like he has been allowing coronavirus to ravage the country and then blaming the Democrats. And then, of course, the other thing I'm afraid of is Donald Trump saying, well, hey, only I can fix it, so give me more power. I will fix it alone. I will fix it myself. That is authoritarianism. So, yeah, you're right to be worried about Donald Trump. He is a fascism, or a fascism. He's a fascist. And so some of you in the chat are right. Trump equals fascism. Fascism will be harder to change than neoliberalism. And of course, neoliberalism is what we're going to get with Joe Biden. And so, again, he's right. This defection just adds to the many who have left this administration because they have went too far. And so, look, that triggered the president. That triggered Trump. So now he sends out this tweet, right? He says, many thousands of people work for our government. With that said, a former disgruntled employee named Miles Taylor, who I do not know, never heard of him. That's Miles Taylor in that picture right there. Never heard of him. Said he left and is on the open arms fake news circuit, said to be a real stiff. They will take anyone against us. I detect some salt. Never heard of him. Fake news, real stiff. Look, let's be honest. Stuff like this gets under Donald Trump's skin. That's why I enjoy it, right? Because that skin's super thin. It's paper thin. Remember, this is a president that's all about loyalty, right? And this, when you leave the administration and you speak out against him, you're being disloyal, right? Everybody who serves under Donald Trump does so at his pleasure, right? And if you quit, well, then the problem is you, right? And we're gonna and Trump's gonna call you out, right? So the reality is, the Republican establishment knows that Donald Trump is destroying their party by revealing the truth about the party. That it is a fascist, reactionary death cult that services rich people. Now, before Trump, Republicans could hide this under a veneer of civility and code words, right? Notice how this guy's like, well, I mean, I don't agree with Joe Biden on his goals and objectives, policy positions, but Donald Trump, very dangerous. And it's true, Donald Trump is very dangerous because he has taken Republicanism to its logical extension, to its extreme, right? And so that makes the Republican Party look really, really bad. He has ripped the face off the party, the nice face. And it's probably the only good thing that Donald Trump's ever done is reveal the truth about who Republicans really are, especially the voters. They know what they're getting with him, and they actually love it. Over 80% of Republicans approve of Donald Trump. They love this guy. Now, the problem is the donors, right? And I'm not saying like, okay, I've always pointed out how the donors are the problem, but this is in a different context, right? So now the donors see Donald Trump and they think, we don't want to be associated with an open fascist, with an open racist, right? And so what they do is that they threaten to stop giving money to Republican politicians, Republican politicians, they panic because they're nothing but empty suits filled with cash. Even though, again, they agree with Donald Trump mostly on the issues, right? And so that's why Kasich, Lincoln Project, and the others, they don't like Donald Trump. I mean, do you think John Kasich's a moderate? He was speaking at the DNC the other night. He's one of those anti-Trumpers, right? Pretty much the same as this guy. Now, what makes John Kasich not a moderate is that he signs things like anti-abortion bills, cuts funding to public schools, gives money to charter schools, fights effort to stop climate change by supporting oil and gas, goes against unions. John Kasich agrees with Donald Trump on most issues. He only doesn't like him because he exposes the real ugliness of the modern conservative movement. And also, by the way, Donald Trump also emboldens QAnon crazies to unseat incumbent Republicans. Those are their buddies in Congress, right? The guys that they've served with for years and years and years. They go to the same cocktail parties, whereas these QAnon lunatics, they don't go to those same cocktail parties. They don't cruise the cocktail circuit, and they have a bonus of making the party look even more insane. And so, yeah, that's another reason why they don't like Donald Trump, because he empowers those people. So understand that when Republicans like these come bearing their votes for Joe Biden, it's not because they've seen the light and that they're actually good people, right, with good policies. No, what they're trying to do is do a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party. Actually, a non-hostile, the opposite of a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party. They're coming in with kindness. They're bearing gifts and say, don't worry, we can help you defeat the real bad guy. But later on, there's going to be a turn. You're going to see it from the Lincoln Project. You're going to see it from these Republicans that support Joe Biden, that if the party does not turn right and continue to go rightward to be a new home for disaffected Republicans, I mean, look, that's what they're trying to do, right? I can guarantee that they're trying to turn the Democratic Party into the new Republican Party while the old Republican Party goes off the rails with Trump. It's just going to be a more polite version of Trump's party. Let's stop that from happening. Let's take the Democrats back by electing progressives.